reduces the risk of having cold coffee and waiting for your coffee to sit on a counter. Because we're talking about the quality of the product, there's nothing worse than having a cup of coffee sitting on a counter waiting for you. We've also developed a reward system that we've highlighted in our packet that we'll be giving to you.
Yeah, so the third strategy we were going to talk about is sharing Pete's story, because Pete already has a very rich history, which Talia told all of us, but we want all the people in the world to know that, I mean from the US to know that story. So sharing Pete's story is very important. And Helen Kellogg also told us something else. She told us if somebody recommended a product, it's much better than a billboard. I mean, if Vaughn came to me and was like, hey, I had this amazing coffee, it's Pete's, go and try it. I would obviously try it more. I'd be more inclined to try it than by seeing a billboard or by seeing like an ad or something else. Or like if somebody who I respected told that to me, I would enjoy it more. And when telling a story, it has to be honest and real. Be a human to human connection. That's what Cara Thomas told us, and let's see how we can do that. So to reach out to millennials, we need to collaborate with people they respect. That's the insight we came up with. So the thing is, there are like so many food bloggers, YouTubers out there. So what we can do is we can invite them to the Pete's Factory. We can be like, hey, can you help us design a drink? Can you help us, like, do you want to see how our coffee is made? Do you want a cup of coffee? Do you want to see how it's brewed and stuff? So they can come to the factory, they can come to the plant, and they can like interact with the coffee brewers. They can interact with the roast masters and like feel really connected to Pete's. And this is going to show people that Pete's actually cares about its customers. Pete's values its customers' opinion. Pete's values people's opinion. And when the story gets out there, because these people are bloggers, so they're gonna realize the story, and they're gonna come to Pete's because they feel like people who respect their opinion respect Pete's, and that's how we share the experience.
Talia, when you came to us and talked to us about how the roast masters cup each batch of coffee and how each batch of coffee is selected before it's shipped out, it's made to order, that really hit home with us. And by integrating lifestyle bloggers and icons that millennials like us look up to, we can really share how much Pete's cares about its coffee.
Now, what's the big takeaway here? We already know we have Pete's has an amazing product. We have that going on for us. But what we have to stick on to is we need to get our connection to our customers on another level. And nextly, we need to do that by sharing Pete's rich story. However, we still need to keep in mind that we have to eliminate all possible inconveniences. Thank you. If you have any questions for us,
Go ahead. Okay, quick question. So you mentioned the logo. Any thoughts on that? What makes it feel less than modern? Or any ideas? Actually, because any ideas on how we would do to change it?
Well,
Did you
I think
think much about that, or that was just?
I mean, this is kind of just like highlighting our ideas. This is by no means a great valiant effort for our logo, but I think that mostly what people respond to is simplicity. I think that if you look at a lot of the logos for modern brands that millennials use today, it's very simple. Like Twitter is just a bird, and so it's kind of this idea that if you have a symbol, maybe monochromatic would probably help. I think it's easier to remember, less to take in, but it still makes more of an impact. I mean, less is more kind of along those lines.
Going off of the idea of incorporating Alfred Pete into the icon, it really familiarizes the product. Almost like Burt's Bees, it gives a face for the consumer to connect the product to connect good quality coffee with. When they see that face, they recognize this is good coffee.
If they like Pete's, they're obviously going to like the coffee, so we can connect that to the story. Pete's bringing the coffee to America.
You used quotes and insights from your experts very well, and it may be that I just missed it. Do you feel like the people, the consumers you talked to backed up your ideas and insights as well? Is that something I missed? It felt pretty expert heavy, but I might have just missed that.
So for example, I talked to a woman outside of a coffee shop who said, I don't have time to wait around until you
Right,
make coffee.
right, okay.
And that's why when we're targeting millennials, although we also target a broader group, in order to reach millennials, we have to be able to serve quality coffee in an efficient manner. Like I said, this is a time of plenty, and when they have competition and can get it quickly, they're going to choose that if it's more convenient.
Great. Cool, thank you.
Any other questions?
You good?
Here's our
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Quincy.
My name's Hannah. My name is Justina.
And my name is Tanya. Now, I want to begin a little bit unorthodox. If you could all do me a favor, including the audience, please close your eyes. Relax. Imagine being in your favorite spot. But not just any favorite spot, a very warm, cozy favorite spot. Your friends are there. You're having an awesome conversation about life, about love, the universe. And then out of nowhere, it hits you. This aroma. And it's rich and dark and just smells so good. And it's coming from your mug. So you grab it and take a nice big gulp of Pete's rich, dark roast coffee. And it's delicious. And that moment is amazing. Open your eyes. Now I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty cool experience. I think I conveyed pretty well and painted the picture pretty well as to what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to sell here, which is the experience. Coffee is so much more than just taste, and we have some evidence to back that up. Davis is 22 years old, loves coffee, and he says, I still remember going to a coffee bar at 8 a.m., hungover and high, and getting that mini ritual, espresso and seltzer, was incredibly relaxing and weirdly life-affirming in the extremely strong, rich taste. Anson, also 22, a little bit more practical, says, it makes me feel productive and alert. It also makes me feel like a legend. These are some of the insights that we gathered that really convey the feeling that coffee is more than just taste, it's an experience. How do we convey this experience?
We think the solution to that problem is creating a college ambassador program. And as you guys all know, Alfred Pete was really into teaching and educating people about his coffee, and we think no one can better do that than students. So Pete's is primarily, as Talia said, a word-of-mouth company, and we think that instead of getting rid of one of the core elements of advertising, we're going to accentuate it. And students have the ability to talk and communicate to each other really well, and we think with that communication we can deepen consumer loyalty. And these are some huge companies, and if you guys don't know them, you probably should. So Uber, I bet almost everyone in this room has used Uber, I bet. It's a $42 billion company, and they said that they use college ambassadors to create a greater awareness in the communities. Seamless, which not many of you may know, but it's growing drastically, It's a food delivery service, and they said that they used college ambassadors to increase monthly sales on campus by 320% a month. And then Red Bull, we all know Red Bull, said that they used college ambassadors to increase both sales and their brands and branded everywhere. And as you guys know, like college kids our age do crazy videos that Red Bull endorses. And then you guys probably know all the other 3 companies where they use college ambassadors as well. So what exactly do college ambassadors do?
These college ambassadors will be responsible for getting the Pete's brand out on college campuses. By teaming up with other organizations and groups on campus, these ambassadors will help host Pete's-sponsored events. For example, Middlebury has The Womp, which is a weekly open mic night. This event is held in a small, intimate space. Chelsea, who is a frequent Womp performer, says about coffee, "I love reading while I drink my coffee and sharing coffee with friends, because usually it's with other coffee lovers and there's a special bond there. I think it's individual, but when people love it, they can share it together." People like Chelsea would enjoy a pop-up Pete's Corner, an area with cozy couches where they can hang with friends, drink coffee, and listen to music. This is a perfect opportunity for Pete's to contribute to that intimate, authentic experience. Another job these ambassadors can be tasked with is to host bi-weekly or monthly coffee tastings, as well as classes on how to grind coffee or what goes into the perfect brew. These events can be held in the cafes on campuses that already proudly brew Pete's. So what kind of person do we want doing this?
So since Pete's is the beloved brand of coffee devotees, we believe that the millennial Peatniks would be the best ambassadors. And we have a quote by Alex in here that helped us come up with this idea. And Alex said, "The experience. I love making a cup of coffee and everything that comes with it. I love sharing it with people." So our millennial Peatnik would be the typical millennial foodie who appreciates good quality products and likes to share that experience with his peers. He would be the voice on campus who would connect with people and ideas and share the brand's name and values like authenticity, curiosity, mastery, uniqueness, because they align with his personal values and what he's interested in. And some ways in which we can attract the future college ambassadors to apply for that position could be, of course, through advertising on college campuses, on social media, posters, and maybe also collaborating with career centers on campuses.
Some logistics. How are we going to pay for this? It's a pretty lofty goal. It's a pretty big program. So how are we going to do it? The first and obvious answer is we're going to pay them. We're broke college students, we like money, and it wouldn't be, it's okay. It wouldn't be that difficult to give them a nice salary of $9 to $12 an hour for a 20-hour work week. It seems pretty feasible. That's just a suggestion, of course. The next is merchandise. What college student doesn't like a free t-shirt, doesn't like a free mug, needs coffee, of course, and doesn't appreciate having that logo on themselves and giving that word out to their fellow peers. And then, of course, this one, discounts. Let me explain this one, because this one seems a little bit, well, is that really a benefit? How much of an incentive is that? As we just previously explained, the people who would be ambassadors are people who love Pete's Coffee, who go there regularly and appreciate the quality, love the taste, constantly buying the beans. So a discount for them would show that not only are they an ambassador, but a beloved customer. I want to end with this quote from Alex again. "A good, dark cup of coffee is enveloping." And I think this really just pushes home the idea that coffee is more than just taste, it's an experience that you can share with your peers. I want to thank you for your time and hope you enjoy our idea. Any questions that we can answer?
What led you guys to this idea of the multi-sensory experience? Like, what was it that kind of?
What was that question? Sorry.
Because I think that your big idea was, your original idea was coffee is a multi-sensory experience, it's more than just the taste. What was it that led you to that insight?
So we talked to a lot of people, a lot of millennials, mostly from rallies, just some friends, people that we know who drink coffee a lot. And a common theme that we kept getting from people who truly did love coffee and wasn't just, oh, I want it to wake me up, but kind of more that deeper stuff, that kind of like, oh, I love how it smells, I love how it tastes. We started finding this common theme where people really appreciate coffee as kind of a source to really engage with their peers and engage with all of their senses. So for example, Alex is one of my very good friends. One of the favorite things he likes to do about coffee is grinding the coffee. He loves grinding the coffee himself, doing the pour over method. Everything about getting to that cup of coffee is part of the experience for him, and he really likes that. And we found that common theme throughout a lot of the millennials that we spoke to.
When you think about bringing it to events on campus, you mentioned the month a little bit, is it better to have it at a larger event, or do you think a smaller scale event? What does that look like for you?
I think we're thinking smaller scale events where it can be intimate, setting up, in the back a few couches and, where they're, at the warm, for example, they have a kitchen where you can brew coffee and things like that. So finding kind of areas like that, or if there's kind of like on-campus coffee shop type things, kind of bringing it to those spaces.
Have you given any thought to who will manage these ambassadors? Because you're going to have a network of college students that don't know each other. They're going to be doing a lot of things like organizing events and doing tastings. Sounds like there's a lot of training involved and a lot of oversight that would have to be involved. How do you see that going?
Well, absolutely. This is definitely a larger scale program that we're trying to implement. It's definitely more long term. So, there's definitely different ways that we can go about this, creating like a new branch in which we do kind of really focus on these ambassadors and again, this is very long term, very kind of, we're kind of reaching a little bit, and kind of maybe bring them out to the main headquarters for a week and training them from the master themselves. Kind of just a little program in which we can really just train them, send them back out there, create that bond within one another, and just really, really share that experience with their peers on campus.
Today we're going to speak to you about how we believe you can recruit.
Hold on one second, I think
We're waiting for
we're waiting
Blake.
for
We're going to take a short break after this presentation, but Blake's done it now, so we'll just give him a second.
Were you waiting for me? I'm sorry.
I actually started without you.
Well, I know who isn't kidding. Just kidding.
Okay, again, so today we're going to speak to you about how we believe you can recruit the next generation of beatniks. In the past week, we've done a lot of research and we've uncovered something we think to be very interesting about the millennial generation. What we figured out is that friend groups utilize one individual for different information about different genres. So for example, in our group, Mohammed, he is our go-to guy for food. We call him our foodie. Tyler, he's our music guy. When we don't know what music to listen to, we ask him. Lindley, she's our fashionista. And who am I? Well, I could be your next beatnik. So how do we know that this really works for coffee and not just these other things I discussed? This is an example of a young man who's still in college, and he really prides himself on his coffee skills. He really likes that his friends go to him for advice about coffee.
and he knows all the best brews. This other example is a young professional woman who just recently graduated from college, and she found that during her college years, she and the rest of her friends all ordered the same thing. They found that they really valued the uniformity of their group over their individual tastes.
But the question really becomes for you guys, how can you attract this one person in the group that will be able to get the rest? How can we use the insights that we've just given you in Pete's context? And we believe the answer to be very simple. All you need is one. Just get that one person in each group, transform them into a Pete-Nick, and once you have that one person, they will be able to get the rest of the group in for Pete's. So, this is how you'll get your next Pete-Nick. We devised a very simple strategy. We constructed a continuum of sorts, in which people have different levels of comforts and knowledge with coffee. On the one hand, you have your experts, those who already know what they want, how they get it, and all we need to do with them is just simply help them improve their expertise and knowledge even more. We also have the dabblers, those who know a little bit about coffee, but not quite so much. They are intrigued, they are willing to learn, but they don't want to be overwhelmed or patronized in the process. And finally, we have the clueless. For example, the college freshmen. Those who don't know what to order, they are worried that in the process they will be alienated and made fun of, but we have a strategy to get them as well.
So what is the expert thinking? Like Kenta, he already knows what kind of coffee he likes. He probably knows how to make it. He knows his favorite flavor. And he's sort of looking for that new place where he can expand his knowledge and learn even more, have a great experience, and share that with his friends. So how do we do that provision of knowledge? So by featuring a sign displayed behind the counter of the roast master and also the date of the beans roasted, it provides a little bit more legitimacy to Pete's promise of personally crafting each batch of beans, and also that they're guaranteed fresh. Also, by placing timers on the coffee pots in the We Proudly Brew stores, will also show that Pete's is staying true to their promise of a fresh pot of coffee every 30 minutes. I know sometimes at Mid-Express, when I found out that this was one of Pete's promises, I thought, I don't really know if they generally do that, so this is a way to ensure that the customers are aware of that. Bringing Pete's onto campuses, whether that's through workshops or classes offered in terms such as J-Term, just involving that community a little more with campuses, Pete's being present on campus, increasing that awareness. And then in the big cities like Chicago, Boston, New York, San Francisco, having monthly roasts for the coffee lovers, which is basically a night of entertainment, bring your friends, discounts on coffee, exchanging ideas with other coffee lovers, and also just sort of a chance to taste new kinds of coffee, new roasts, sort of to look for the experts to refine their palate.
Okay, so we believe the dabblers are the largest sector of our millennial group. And somebody like Courtney, who is somebody that just graduated college, and she's thinking, I'm interested in coffee, I need my perfect coffee in the morning, I want to learn more so I can impress my coworkers when we go to the coffee shop. So what are we going to do to target those dabblers? We're going to find them their perfect cup. Pete's can make a perfect coffee, but our goal is to find them that perfect cup. First, you can do this in store with the employee behind the counter. Whether it's to start retail or licensing, the employee can either have a checklist and go through a question and answer session with the customer to find them that perfect coffee, whether it's an Americano, espresso, or cafe au lait. Another option is to do an online or possibly in-app option for the customer. So the customer can go online, select all the characteristics she or he loves about the coffee, and simply press enter. Try Cafe Americano on your next visit. Our last and final group is the clueless. This is a college freshman who is thinking, I've never had a coffee in my life before. I've never walked into a coffee shop, but I'm interested in learning a little bit more about coffee. I want to start drinking coffee with my friends, and what else can I do to learn about coffee? So we think to target these clueless, we need to reformat the menu so it's very simple. Simple adjectives: sweet, strong, strange. I'm going to get a sweet tequila. I'm going to get a strong iced espresso. I'm going to get a strange black tie. And This type of menu, we believe, will go in like a licensed store or retail store, and the menus you have in front of you in the paper can go in a wholesale or kind of like mid-express crossroads location where I talked to Nick specifically, and he said one of the Pete's main issues in this wholesale location is brand washing and too much choice for the consumer. And we believe Pete's can differentiate themselves with having this menu where the consumer knows, oh, I want a Javiva from Pete's. I don't want a coffee from Green Mountain or the numerous other options that some of these locations offer.
So we've shared with you what we really believe to be the insight into how you can attract millennials. You only need one. You get one millennial to be your next Peatnik, and you get all of their friends to join you.
Okay, so how do we, any other ideas on how we find that one? So how would I know, like how to find if Lily was the one in this group, like what are some of the best ways to find you?
I think through our spectrum of, where do you fall on the coffee lover spectrum is sort of by having those 3 different tactics or approaches to those 3 different kinds of coffee drinkers. It'll give Pete's the best sort of approach to finding that one. And I mean, again, Pete's, like, for the expert, they probably already know that Pete's has a quality cup of coffee.